Hi everybody. This will be a quick one. Dragonman is still writing exam and tomorrow's biology, life sciences, and we are struggling to get through it. The exams up until now were so nicely spaced that he had a day or two between hard study subjects, but this week is a nightmare. Plus he received his biology scope on Monday only. Let me rather keep quiet at this junction. Say nothing. It's better all around. Okay, now I have a lot to say, but I'll leave the long videos for the weekend. For now, I want to share with you as best I can something I was told a couple of weeks ago. I was shocked and stunned into silence by what I was told. I was also under the impression that I was likely one of very few people in the world who got told this or had this information. But no matter how many people have actually heard this or at least a version of it, I was relatively sure, no, actually very sure, that not one of us would be prepared to say anything out loud. All I could say, even to those I trust the most, was that I heard this very shocking story. Now, before I was actually told what I was told, I was indeed warned by at least one person to believe only a certain amount of what I am hearing about at least one person in the royal family, namely, obviously, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, because the real truth, the full story, is so shocking that a lot of what is going on around Andrew is like 60 to 70% true. And then maybe even less, 50 to 55%. And but he is by no means sweet and innocent or mama's little cutie. No, I'm not saying that, not at all. But he was indeed chosen to be the one to be, let's say, be sacrificed, or to be the scapegoat and to be the one to pay for the sins of the entire royal family. Now, to say I regret asking for clarification is an understatement. To say that I would have preferred to remain ignorant, or at least of this, is not an understatement. I feel like scrubbing myself with some abrasive material or soaking in a tub of antiseptic. Okay, so I know you guys are likely curious, but first I'm going to continue. So I had to say something to someone because I could not carry this all by myself. So I told someone I trust, not the full details, just basically the broader gist, or, the outline. And I left it at that. A couple of days ago, I opened my Instagram on my phone and there was this weird video. The bloke is talking, but you have to listen very carefully because he is playing music over it. I had to listen a couple of times, not only to hear what he said, but also because my brain could not comprehend what I heard. Here was this bloke whom I've never heard of before. No known or traceable ties to the royal family, saying exactly, almost word for word, what I was told. I nearly had a heart attack. Someone is talking, and some people are brave enough to try and bring the truth, it seems. But the bad news is that I'm not one of those yet. I also struggled with whether any of it, or some of it, or all of it, is actually true. And for a day or two, I just completely prefer to ignore it and imagine that it is all just conspiracy or nasty gossip, until someone else said it in public. And then, as if the universe wanted to smack me through the face and wake me up, I watched one of Lauren's videos last night in which she made it known that Charles visited Wood Farm right next door to Brother Andrew at Marsh Farm. Now that piece of news came as the cherry on top, the bullet through the steeple, the last puzzle piece. Anyway, so I looked it up. Charles was driven to Wood Farm Sunday, May the 24th at around midday. According to mainstream media, Charles avoided meeting Andrew. You know, they must think we are extremely stupid and ignorant, or all of us are sycophants, or I don't know what they're thinking. But, I mean, how could Charles avoid Andrew? It's rubbish. If he wanted to go to Sandringham and wanted to avoid Andrew, he would have stayed where he always stayed, namely Sandringham House. After all, Marsh Farm and Sandringham House are 7 miles apart, whereas Wood Farm and Marsh Farm are right next door, barely a mile apart. I also do not believe they did not see each other, because Andrew, by all indications, getting over his initial shock and scare, and one of the things I was told is that currently his mood goes from very angry to severe depression, feeling he has nothing left to lose. Now this means that Andrew is currently a very dangerous man, a true and undeniable danger to the monarchy, and specifically his brother Charles. Andrew is currently isolated, and I can assure you every telephone is bugged, every device he uses, like a laptop or anything else, is being monitored. I would not be surprised to find out that every room in his home is indeed bugged. I also know something else, and this has nothing to do with the person or persons, but because that is how the cookie crumbles in the monarchy. Now William may be separating his office, his accounts, his PR, his lawyers, every aspect of his business, and to an extent part of his private life, from that of his father. But when a situation arises where his father and the monarchy are indeed being threatened, he will protect his father and or the monarchy, whatever it takes. Now, similar and worse applies to Charles. Charles will throw his own child and anyone else under the bus, and for a lot less. That is the truth. You can go read about Hugh Lindsay, Barry Manicky, Dale Tryon, Kanga, and a number of others, maybe even Dodie and Diana. The list over the past 50 years have grown and grown, and does not always include those who lost everything, their jobs, their livelihoods, some who even ended up in exile, like Andrew, in a way. I mean, all you need to do is go ask James Hewitt. So, my friends, I'm not, as yet, able to tell you what I was told. Not in detail, anyway. But Charles and Andrew has certain agreements in place, and some of those agreements center around Beatrice and Eugenie. And now, by the so-called financial report leaking, I wonder where it leaked from. But anyway, it may appear that Charles may not be able to keep his word. So I'm quite sure Charles and Andrew have quite a bit to say to each other. A battle of wills, if you will, threatening each other. Obviously, Charles has the upper hand, but at the moment, that position is incredibly fragile. You have no idea. Mainstream media refuses to mention Savile, Ball, Van der Post, Uncle Dickie Mountbatten. But folks, it is coming. The king's sycophants can send Andy to mom and dad, but we are all still here, and something or somebody is indeed leaking. And I don't mean like a sieve, but like an old farmhouse roof by the buckets full. So, my dear friends, you will have to listen very carefully, read between the lines to know what I'm trying to tell you in this video. For some of you, it will be quite obvious. But anyway, I will be back shortly. We have a long weekend coming, so I do have a bit of time now. I will also see my members very soon. So until we speak again, please take good care of yourselves, stay vigilant, and stay safe. Bye.